Hey, your friendly neighborhood travel agent and host of Tattoo Infinity and Beyond. We're here at Geekster Ink Tattoos Legends here in the Vancouver, Washington area with our good buddy and co-host, Jer, who we just saw get tatted up and new tats here. And now we've done a wardrobe change and we're ready to actually interview the guy who did it. Jer, you want to introduce who our guest is today? Hey,
hi everybody.
He doesn't have ears on or glasses.
I know, I feel so naked. I feel weird, but I feel weird.
I feel weird.
It's a rarity. Put it in the archives, baby.
Archive it, baby. So
we're gonna go see my buddy Jerry, who runs this bad boy, aka tattoo shop /
toy
shop
store. Yeah,
mostly Star Wars, which is awesome.
Totally
and
awesome.
I spent a lot of money here, not on tattoos. Well, on tattoos, but beyond.
And toys, yeah, the beyond. I might rip a pack of cards today. I don't know.
You've seen the cards there. They got some. If you collect it, they've got some weird stuff here.
You'll see it in the montage that we talk about. You know, you've seen the montages, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. So, hey, enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw us earlier outside this wonderful place, but welcome back into Tattoo Infinity and Beyond with myself, James Kemp, your neighborhood-friendly travel agent, and our resident co-host and photographer, Jer.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. I'm your friendly neighborhood
Photographer,
co-host, tatted guy.
Without your hat this time and your glasses. What's going on, Jer? Why? I know you got blasted earlier with your new art, which we'll show off in the montage that we show quite often. But why no hat? Why no?
Because I have a hockey game after this, and I play hockey next door, and I didn't want my hat to get ruined in the car.
Yeah.
Because I might just throw my gear in there afterwards and forget the hat's there.
Yeah, well, you got some pretty eyes there, friend, so it works off. And the beard and the gray, it all...
Stop it.
Stop. So we won't make him blush, guys.
Stop
And
it.
as you can tell, we have our guest sitting right here. Jared's good friend and, well, my new friend.
Hey, we're all family now.
Yeah, we're all family.
We're all family.
We're all family.
Geeky family.
Geeky family. Jerry Patton.
How you doing, guys? Hey, welcome.
Yeah, welcome in, Jerry. I mean, I met you, obviously, through Jerry. We were here. You're doing work. You did work on Jer. Did his taker. I actually had to go dip out for a bit, but you had to do a wardrobe change. However, you did his taker. You did, what else? The Goofy, and what else? He did some other work that day, didn't
And
I got
some sports emblems.
some
Avalanche.
Some,
represent my team.
teams.
The Avalanche.
Avalanche.
That's
Stanley
right.
Cup champions, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's nice to see that you're working. You're a geek like we are. You walk into the shop and you instantly get a feel for who you are. I'll just start off. What got you into tattoos?
Geez, what got me into tattoos, I think, is really just always being in the art, and then trying to actually learn and get an apprentice of tattooing was like, I would bring them my comic book art, and they're like, this ain't tattoos. When you get back, when you like learn how to draw tattoos, come back and see us, and like go kick rocks, kid, kind of a thing, you know. And then it was like, geez, okay, and just kind of kept pursuing the art. And then later, it's like you didn't realize. After I eventually got into tattooing and being a little more mainly self-taught, stuff like that, and then getting an apprenticeship. My first apprenticeship was in actually Polynesian, doing like all the full suits and patterns and designs, learning the body. And then it was like, you're tattooing everything that anyone comes through. You don't know, you just have to be diverse. You know, you have to be able to tattoo whatever you want. If you want like logos, emblems, roses, whatever. But then now with the pop culture scene, it's like we finally found that niche to where I can be like, I just want to tattoo geeky, fun. Nostalgia,
yeah.
You know, the stuff we grew up with that our parents gave us as kids. And then now we remember that, then we have children, so we kind of pass that torch down. And it's like, it's all that fun memory, memorial, like memorabilia, fandom stuff, you know, and everyone has their own passion. their own fun geeky kind of thing, you know, from Disney, if it's DC, Marvel, Harry Potter, horror, zombies. Everyone's got something. If it's anime, manga, whatever. I mean, so you have all of that.
It's true.
You know, I mean, when we grew up, it was Japanimation.
Japanimation.
Now it's anime.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, we were watching Voltron
Oh gosh.
at like 7 a.m. because it came from Japan dubbed, you know, and it was like, what is this? You know, or Robotech.
Robotech. Oh man, or Cowboy Bebop on.
Bebop all day, dude. Oh my gosh, it's the best.
Staying up on Adult Swim to catch, you know,
Right,
that
right.
and Gundam and
Yeah, all that cool
all
stuff.
the old, yeah.
And it's just everything. It's such a wide plethora of stuff, from like Hanna-Barbera to the WB Acme stuff in the mornings, or Popeye, or just all that fun stuff, you know. And but yeah, that's pretty much what got me into the art field. And then tattooing was from the art, and then now with the pop culture scene, it kind of seems like I can target market my passion, or I can make a living off tattooing geeky stuff. So it's like, oh, I didn't know that, you know. And from like moms to grandmas, daughters, sons, everyone has something.
I've seen moms in here today. I've seen, you know, women who have kids in high school. I've seen just people of all ages. Jared getting blasted. I mean, all your artists are constantly working. They're drawing, whether they're you know, have somebody in the chair or not. I mean, this place is pretty rad, actually.
It's awesome, and that's where we kind of focus on, is we're a family type shop. We're a family oriented shop. You guys see how it is, where it's like just all ages. Not your normal typical shop to where you go in, it's real dark, there's, you know, like different type of artwork, and they don't allow children in that shop. If you're under 18, you're not allowed in. You know, here we're like, no, we're all family. We encourage that. Bring the kids. We do Sharpie tattoos. We got temporary tattoos. We'll have events like Star Wars. Like
you're saying you had the 501st, didn't you?
Yeah, and then, you know, we got a lot of friends of those that work with the 501st or volunteer with them. Then we'll have like them come in on our like Christmas parties, or we'll do fundraisers, toy drives, where like Jerry will make some awesome CDs. Everything he slings from those CDs and gains, he puts right back into the fundraiser. We do a lot of stuff giving back to the community, trying to change the persona of the typical tattoo shop that we grew up with. That was a real more taboo.
You go in,
know,
it's dark.
Underground.
You get the piercings like Jer has in his ears,
You know,
the gauges, and
you
go up there's the wall with the art,
the flash art,
the flash art. It's all the 1950s.
Like, I like that butterfly and that kanji.
Yeah, that Sailor Jerry, you know, style art. I mean, I picked my very first tattoo on my shoulder, which is this tiny dragon like this big.
Right, we all got them.
Yeah, for like $80 in Oceanside, because it was what it was.
Right, and that was that era.
Yep.
Right, and then it just kind of seemed like it just kind of evolved and shifted into a whole different, more popular, more accepted kind of a culture. I guess you would have to say social media, cable, all that stuff, kind of making it more in everybody's face, making it more of a norm thing,
right?
And not so taboo, like we were saying, I guess. And then now we get to do family tattoos. So you got like husband and wife getting their, I don't know, Mickey and Minnie tattoo, you know, or something that represents what their grandma bought them from back in the day, you know, of something.
Right.
A Care Bear when you were a kid, or we have it all, you know, whatever it is, from My Little Pony to He-Man, and now we got obviously Star Wars.
We'll
anything
get
Marvel,
to your
Disney.
we'll get to your collection behind us in a minute. Jerry, you got some questions?
I do. So when I met you, you weren't actually working here. You worked somewhere else. Can you talk about how you met Chris, how you joined the Geekster family, and then how all of this came to play?
Man, right.
It's kind of went quick, it seemed like.
Yeah, it just kind of kept moving, and it was like you just got to kind of go with the flow. You never know what's going to happen, and just kind of seize opportunities. But yeah, working at a normal tattoo shop, an everyday tattoo shop, meeting all the guys, going to conventions, tattoo conventions.
Which is where we met.
Oh yeah, you know, and having fun, getting in that, hanging out all weekend, and just being in that environment. And it was fun because you made a lot of connections, you met everybody, kind of get on that personal level. And then working that tattoo gig for a while, then I got, at the time, well, currently my ex-wife, she reached out to Chris51, sent him an email, and was just like talking about the Geekster tour, because the Geekster tour was consisted of touring Comic-Cons only, to where they're the only tattoo group and it's only pop culture related.
Wow.
And so it's like taking it, instead of working at a tattoo convention, just a standard convention, we're like, well, we went to a different level of Comic Cons, and we were able to be those tattoo artists there, where they treated us like the employees, the vendors, the celebrities kind of thing. We would, you'd go and get your signature from your favorite meet and greet, like Momoa or the Jeffrey Dean Morgan or any of those guys, depending on what you wanted to do or who you met. And then we would tattoo that, or we'd tattoo geeky Star Wars combination tattoos, whatever you guys wanted, you know, and we got to do that there, and that was the theme. So it was just like, man, we're on cloud nine. Chris reaching out to me saying, hey, you know, I pretty much felt like I got drafted to the Geek League. You know, it's like, cool, I get to do roses in schools, blah, 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 you know, script, whatever. But to get drafted with him and have him reach out to me, hey, what's up, man, after, my ex emailed them, and then he reached out like, oh, yeah, I know him, let's get him on, and we need another good Star Wars guy who's that kind of fandom-based kind of style guy, you know, and everyone has something different.
You're the niche. You're that Star Wars niche. You're
yeah,
that guy,
right. And there's like a couple guys, Star Wars guys. You have like guys who do more of like black and gray horror or neo-traditional, Sailor Jerry style, but incorporating all pop culture designs and mixing all the different mediums and having fun and being creative.
Yeah, I know one of the artists here. I noticed he was doing kind of that old Sailor Jerry 1950s style, but horror pop-ish.
Right.
And it was very cool to see that's still incorporated here, but it's all like he was sketching it color pencil, and I'm just like, okay, that's here. That, like you said, it's like you have a mix of everything.
Right.
Wow.
And it's like you get to just put it all together. And you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna draw this because you have an idea, like Freddy Krueger Pikachu. You're like, oh cool, let's draw that out. What's that look like? You know, or a Jason Mickey Mouse or Ren and Stimpy as like, you know, horror guys or something. You're like, I don't know, I could create it. So then you draw it, you create it, and then our friends, clients, or whatever will see that design and they're like, oh, that's cool, I want it.
Right there.
I want it. You know, like mashups.
Yeah,
right there.
You know?
Yeah, you posted it on Facebook, and I'm like, dibs.
Right.
That actually is now. There's our very first episode is the Wookiee who rolled up his sleeves because of that tattoo, and it's inspired because of your
Blue-collar
work.
Wookiee.
Yeah.
You posted it, and I'm like, dibs. I want that.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you got this, like,
I got this
you know,
because he posted it, Skip, and then I was like,
right.
dibs.
You're right. Yeah.
And then from there, we just kind of created and then got the rest of it.
And then we collab together, like your ideas, what do you want in your tattoo? Then we come up with that idea, and then we lay it all out, and it looks good, and it's pretty unique, you know.
Darth Maul.
Oh, Hufflepuff.
Yeah, see?
Right.
It was a weird combination, but we kind of talked about how we wanted it, and then you came up with this design, and I'm like, love it, let's do it.
Right. It's really cool because you get to think outside the box. And you're like, ooh, what can we do that's fun and new? And, you know, and that's where, like, working with all those guys from the Geekster crew is, like, watching all these guys that I looked up to as icons within the industry, you know, that have been doing for 10, 15, 20 years, who have, you know, paid their dues to the tattoo gods and did the grinding and the normal, you know, and then now moving into the new culture of us tattooing in pop culture and Comic Cons, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm working with the guys that I looked up to, that I read in magazines and watched their artwork in the 90s and, you know, 2000s, and at Barnes & Noble when you get in the tattoo mags, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy lives right here in Springfield, and then he has a TV show on AMC, what was it called, the Epic Ink down in Springfield, Chris 51 doing all that, and then he was just the man. Like, it was cool. He got to do all the Star Wars, all the fun geeky tattoos, specializing in Simpsons.
He loves the Simpsons.
Oh, yes.
He is the Simpson man. Like, he's going to be opening up the first ever Simpson museum down there. And everything, and it obviously got delayed because of Disney taking over and stuff, you know, corporate wise, you know.
And Fox.
And Fox is based out of Eugene, Springfield. That's where they air everything. That's where Matt Groening's in that zone. So many creators. Freaking Matt Aldred, who created iZombie. Yeah. Who drew for and illustrated all for the Silver Surfer for like its prime of the 80s, 90s. Yeah. He's down there hanging out. I created Madman, all that stuff, and then he's getting tattooed by Chris in the shop, and you're like, oh my gosh, like all these guys we're all just normal people. Mm-hmm. You know, and then we're just looking at them, it's like, oh my gosh, you're just on this whole different tier of life, you know, and you look up to these guys who create all that medium that we read, the comic books, the the graphic novels, all that stuff.
Well, one in our own midst that we were friends with, good old Dan Prado. I mean,
yeah, right there.
Right
Lives
there.
in our backyard. You
and,
know what I mean? Yeah.
Backyard, yeah.
All
And
these guys.
All these guys that we looked up to in the 80s and 90s are now like getting tattooed by people that you work with, and this geek crowd. You guys like have cultivated this whole scene. Do you see that, or do you feel that?
It's crazy. It's kind of weird because you almost have to pause, take a step back to kind of absorb what you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really realize it when you're
you're
nose deep.
Yeah.
And then you're still just doing life. Like, you got to pay bills, you got to take care of your family. You have other responsibilities that come before yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that cool part where, like, I can provide for a family doing geeky artwork. Who would have thought? And.
Yeah. I mean, I can guarantee you, from the three of us down, we all have a story from when we all went to high school where we were chastised for being the geeky weird kid.
Right, we all
to
have that
some
story.
example, because we liked tattoos, we liked the cartoons, we liked all this stuff. We never really grew out of that phase of life where kids stopped playing with their toys. They put the toy box away.
Mom donated it.
Mom donates that.
That doesn't stop there.
No, some of my it stopped. Had stopped there for me with the toys, but then it came to the comic books, and then it came
in different mediums. Right.
and diving into arts, and now we are the ones, like we talked about, with the money.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones dictating how this is going to go.
Right, now we're the people writing these stories.
Yes.
The plays, the movies, all the stuff that you see. It's like we're that generation and genre taking over into that, and it was so crazy because before, just the pop culture scene of not tattoos, way before tattoos, but like comic books and cartoons, anime, all that stuff, we kind of, oh cool, because everyone was more into sports,
Yeah.
I mean, you love it all, sports, everything, but it was almost like, oh man, we kind of had the comic books in our backpack, all that fun stuff, but you kind of did it. But then you'd go to class, like, hey dude, check this out, I got Wolverine 171, check this out, and you're like, yeah dude, I just picked that up, and then, okay, put it back, don't talk about it until we get home.
Then you had the jocks at school who were secret geeks that would be like, on the weekends, their best friend was the D&D master,
right,
like next door, like, hey, what are we doing? Are we like after the game, after I'm not going to the party with the guys, let's do it. It's just like,
right.
Where now you guys are coming out of the woodworks, and we should have never been made to feel this way, and tattoos, I think, have made it acceptable.
It's crazy, like, just merging everything, and everything just kind of, it's like creating new genres of things, and yeah, it's just nuts. And to be able to look at a comic book and be like, I love that spread, that Venom versus Carnage, and then you get to tattoo it on the guy, and you're like, oh my gosh, that Jim Lee or that Todd McFarlane version, Spawn, or Todd McFarlane's Batman. You're like, yeah, or I want that Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah, I was going to say Frank Miller.
I know what you're talking about. I got that issue. I got my resources.
I've got that beefier
I want
Batman.
that cover tattooed on this guy. I've been dying to do this,
I want the Killing Joke Joker.
Right. Everybody's got their favorite Joker, their favorite Batman, their favorite Star Wars or Avengers character, and everyone. Yeah. And there's a reason for all that. It's like, oh, well, that was my dad's favorite. My dad loved Gumby and Pokey. You're like, well, cool. I watched that back in like 85 and and now I'm getting the tattoo because my dad passed, and that's what reminds me of him and I bonding.
Right.
And now that I have kids, and now I can explain that to my children, and they're like, who the heck is that? And you're like, check it out.
Check it out.
Thank God for YouTube.
or Disney Plus. I'm a Muppet Show guy.
Okay.
I love the Muppet Show.
Oh,
and
the
my
Muppets
kids,
all day.
And I'd be singing ba-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba through the house. And the kids like, what? My boys are like, what are you singing? Even my daughter's like, the Muppet Show. And intro, they're like, the Muppet Show, what's that? I go, Kermit and all of them. They have
I know, you do all the fun. Yeah, dude.
And Swedish
And then, watching all that stuff, and then merging into, like, let's say, seeing Labyrinth. Or the early Ninja Turtle movies, all the Jim Henson stuff that came from all these generations of the puppeteering. All that's in Star Wars, like they say. Frank Oz, right. Like, you see all the puppeteering, and you see the new stuff, and to keep things grounded, it's like, what do they say? You keep one foot in the past and one in the future, and you want to keep them both together.
That is the one thing I'll say they did with the appearance of Yoda in the new Star Wars movies. Okay. Frank Oz came back to play with the puppet to do Yoda because they did too much CGI with the prequel movies, which no one's dogging that, but it's like you said, you have to keep that one foot in the past, that nostalgia that everybody wants, to keep the functionality, the realism of what we all grew up with.
And it's like that's handmade. it's like the whole team. It takes like 5 guys to operate Yoda, or it takes 4 guys to operate R2, or who knows how many people. I mean, we know how many people were in Jabba. You know, puppeteering that, or why you saw Sesame Street and everything was just at chest level because there's a whole team underneath functioning it and doing it. The Ninja Turtles, like Corey Feldman doing Donatello, voice, but you have somebody operating the mouth and then another guy operating the eyes and the gestures.
And somebody else in the costume performing the stunts.
Right, and then like, some Olympian kung fu karate badass is the dude doing backflips with the turtle suit on.
Yeah.
Sweating it.
And, you think about it. And then Kevin Nash is the Super Shredder in the second one. I mean, you would never think that.
No, but then going back, and now we have the internet. We have all that stuff to kind of confirm our little hunches and Easter eggs. Mm-hmm. They were Easter eggs before they became known as Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And, like watching Predator 2.
Yeah.
Danny Glover. You see at the very end, you see the trophy room, you saw an alien skull, and you're like...
the Xenomorph skull.
The Xenomorph, and you're like, Alien versus Predator, just like the comic books from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Not Marvel, but that's based out of Milwaukee, Oregon, which is just our backyard. Mm-hmm. Like, all that stuff's right here, and a lot of us were so oblivious to it, because the internet just made it smaller. Social media just made our world so much smaller.
Yeah, yep.
And everyone has something they love.
Exactly.
You have your favorites, your least favorites. Yeah. What are your favorites because your kids, that's their favorites, or what's your wife's favorite?
My passion for Spider-Man has reignited because of my kids. I've Spider-Man, my all-time favorite Marvel character besides Daredevil. I've got my certain fandoms with it.
Right,
but,
and you can justify your character.
And I can justify my character. I can justify me loving Gambit for what it was in the X-Men,
right.
Deadpool, whatever it was. But my all-time favorite is obviously Spidey because he's an average kid who turned into something special.
He's the one you can relate to.
Exactly.
You were the kid who had the comic books in high school.
Yeah.
That might have accidentally ran into the football dudes. And you're like, oh, crap.
I picked on as a track kid who loved writing poetry and reading comics. So I know that firsthand, and I could relate to that. And now my kids are like, they have the Spider-Man costumes. They want to run around and be Peter Parker. My list was like, I want to be Spin. I'm like, okay, I don't really know Spin. I know it's Miles, but I don't know that character, that iteration that well. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, now I'm learning more about Spider-Gwen. I'm learning more about the different parts of the multiverse through that passion.
It just expanded so much.
And this is something that I think Jared could relate to, sports and comics, because now you have the crossover athletes. When we were kids, you had the Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and what was the other?
Wayne Gretzky,
that's cartoon.
Any of those badasses on the Wheaties box.
Yep.
That was like, we're collecting Wheaties boxes as kids and stuff,
Clyde Drexler one at home.
Oh, dude, the Bust a Bucket era was
I have the
best.
Bust a Bucket cassette tape.
See?
Where's the players?
Remember they play on the radio all
the
time, and then they had the certain eras, like if you went to like Dairy Queen, or I don't know if people have that, but
the glasses.
And you got the glasses.
I got all those glasses.
Right.
I was a big
the Robinson,
kid.
All the different characters, and they're rapping all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this is cool. Yeah, I don't know, a lot of cool stuff.
It's just like I mean, did he answer your question like in depth like you wanted? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I guess backtracking to that, and then being a part of that tour, that's where this shop was founded through. So working with Chris, being drafted with Chris, 51, and being a part of this group, like we'd be like, okay, we're gonna go do a Comic-Con in Salt Lake City. Everyone wherever they live, New York, Vancouver, Portland, San Diego, whatever we do. Okay, cool. We'd fly there, hang out all weekend, tattoo all at the Geeky Con, and have fun, and represent Geekster Ink Legends, the Comic-Con tour, and then we'd all come home.
Do you guys still do that tour?
And then, so actually, currently it's been bought out because COVID kind of flip-flopped and changed a lot of our norm and stuff.
Right.
So everything's kind of readjusting and readapting and kind of seeing how we can get back and get Comic-Cons built back up again, because it's so expensive to travel. Now Comic-Cons aren't as busy as they used to be, depending on what state, and the rules and regulations are so diverse.
It's mainly hitting the big ones.
They're pretty strict still in Portland.
Right,
we just
Oregon's
did the
a
Rose
hard
City
one.
And they're still pretty strict. Still got to wear the masks inside.
Right. Then you go to New York, Awesome Con out there. Everyone's just like we are, and they don't even have anything on there. Just have a normal.
San Diego, same
no
way.
plexiglass between you and the celebrity.
Yeah, San Diego, LA, all the big ones. It's. I think in that realm, to get back into it, just to go that route, it's going to take having to narrow, like you said, target market.
Right.
Target market to what that trend is for that year, whether it be quote unquote Walking Dead or spin-off or the not spin-off, but the restarting of, say, the Daredevil and Punisher series that are coming out. You have to go down there, and there's going to be a ton of people. John Barthnell is going to be down there,
Right.
and you're going to have people out in droves for the Punisher tattoo because of the reboot, or the Double D for Daredevil. Something
Right,
stupid.
yeah.
You have to find something that is intertwined, or wrestling. A big go down for a pay-per-view and have it surrounding a Comic-Con, or
Right.
SummerSlam Access, or something stupid to get you back into that circuit, because it's, like you said, the world shut down. Nobody knew it was going to happen.
Right, and it just drastically changed.
Yeah, it
what
changed
we do.
everything.
Yeah, and it was like, it was crazy. We'd be all over doing all the different Comic Cons, and we'd always goof off. We'd be all drinking after hours, hanging out, goofing off. And we're like, we need a hub, because everyone goes everywhere. So we're like, well, why don't we build one and take the initiative? So we built the hub here in Vancouver, with Chris just being 2 hours south, and and he comes back and forth. And prior to COVID, like a lot of the touring, a lot of guys would be like, fly here, guest spot here, work here, tattoo clients from Portland, the whole West Coast, and then go home. And then, so it was like, cool. We always had this like little meet and greet. Everyone would come here and hang out and have fun, and
That's rad.
and then you got Portland's right there, Seattle's just right there, and so it was kind of fun. So everything here is like based off of Comic-Con, to where like when you go to Artist Alley, you would have all the artists on the side, and you just come down and check it out. So when you're here, you just walk down, every tattoo artist is doing the same thing, holding their kids hand all the way down to the bathroom, them stopping at every station, looking at all the different memorabilia, and
all the different artists doing their work, just
and
like
everyone's so friendly and open,
Yeah.
because we only hire pretty much family guys here. We want to make sure there's other priorities that we have other than ourselves, because we're no divas. We changed the stigma, the underground taboo thought and idea of what a normal tattoo shop is.
No, I love it, because this is a place I'd feel comfortable bringing my 2 little boys and my teenage girls, although they're not into all the Star Wars stuff like my teenagers, but my boys would be like,
Right.
what's going on, Dad? I mean,
This has been here the whole time?
this has been the whole time. Why haven't we been here? And
Right.
so the family, I can see that, and I know for Jer, I know when he said, "Oh, I want to bring you to here, and I want to interview Jerry, and I want to do this," I'm like, okay, cool, a tattoo shop and a toy shop. This should be rad. I'm into both.
Give it a shot, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
and then once you step through the door, it's a whole different thing, right?
I was floored. It was welcoming. It was comfortable. I mean, anybody who's in the Vancouver area and trying to get a tattoo, or just want to come pick up a pack of cards, or you're looking for that Power of the Force era that we all grew up with.
Right.
Anything. I mean, a $2,500 card that you're after.
From Dragon Ball to anything.
Anything. I'm
right.
telling you, this place is one of a kind. I mean,
It's definitely different.
Yeah.
It's not dark and gloomy. It's upbeat, bright, good music.
we had to turn music off, guys. Copyright. We
apologize.
Yeah.
We were rocking out earlier.
You
But
sure saw if you're dancing. I didn't get a video of Jared dancing. It's sad. We might. Yeah.
they were playing some
Figured out.
AC/DC, and it was the stuff they play at the Winterhawks games, which is our local hockey team. And I was getting all amped up because I got my game after this. I was like, oh,
It's
pump
going to
up.
be fun.
It's gonna be
James.
fun. Yeah.
I do
Right.
have a question for you, though. So there's a tattoo that I have that you also have.
Oh, okay.
We talked about it a little bit on the episode about me, but can you explain the origin of hot soup?
Oh, the hot soup.
Oh, right.
I
This is
explained
the
it on
fun
my
one.
version, but I'm just explaining your explanation, so that's from you.
Okay, so start at the beginning of it all. I have an apprentice, and so he's doing a lot of learning with the tattooing and the fundamentals, the hygiene, all that stuff, application. We're going through all the learning and teaching, and for me, I was like, hey, will you tattoo this kanji symbol on me? There's a Japanese kanji symbol that stands for hot soup. And everyone's like, why would you do something like that? And I'm like, well, the joke is like, everyone gets kanji, but the joke is like, do you really know what that means?
Yeah.
And then if you go to Japan, China, wherever that
Kanji's
that
from.
kanji or whatever, all that, they're like, do you know if that really means what you thought it meant, like inner strength, inner beauty, blah 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 blah, and everyone's like, yeah, it means this, and I'm like, no, the joke is it means hot soup. You like hot soup. So I was like, all right, hey, would you mind actually tattooing an actual hot soup, so if we ever go there, they're like, you're like exactly what it's supposed to mean. It's just like making fun of the making fun of part. We're just gonna mock the mock. And we're like, because we're fun. We don't care. We don't want to put too much overthink everything. It's for me. Everything doesn't have to have a specific type of story, we make a story to what we're doing, and we create that, you know, and to have all the guys here, and we're just goofing off saying, hey, I want to get that hot soup tattoo in kanji, and Skip, I'm like, hey Skip, you want to get one with me? And he's like, why would I do that? And I'm like, well, because nobody likes cold soup, you know, and everyone's like, that's pretty legit, I'm down. That's how easy we are to convince each other, like, I'm down. And then all the other guys are like, I'm in. I'm like, I thought I was just getting one, you know?
Logic played into that one.
Right, and then we kind of turn it into like a fun little event where the apprentice is doing it because he's got to learn the fundamentals of tattooing, so why not start with kanji, real easy to kind of get into. And I was like, do that hot soup on me, and then all the guys here at the shop are like, hey, we'll all get one. And then now, because he's apprenticing, we kind of made a little bet. We're like, how about this? If you can tattoo 100 of these logos, we'll give you $100, like $1 each, you know. And that's part of his learning experience. It's like, there's no way, dude, who's gonna want this? And then we're asking all our friends and clients and patrons and all that. We're like, hey, you want to get a free hot soup tattoo? Just a little kanji symbol. And they're like, why? And then we explained it to them, like, oh, okay, that's fun.
That's totally fun.
Right. And then we hit that 100 mark, and we're still going. Like, so many more people still want to do it, and we're just goofing off. Like, you got one, I got one, a bunch of the other guys got one.
Now.
He's getting one. You know, we just make the joke, like, we go to the mall, and you see, like, one of your friends or clients or something, and they're like, hot soup. And you're like, hot soup. Everyone's got one, and then you start calling it out, and everyone's got one. And you're like, you go to a restaurant next door. 5 guys got them over there, like, because there's 100 people 100 plus people in Vancouver having this. You know, we all got one. We're like, what?
And off camera, there's a hot soup painting, which is really funny. And it's just
there's stickers in the bathroom.
We made right, and then we started sticking them all over other bars. So even the bars are getting tattooed hot
street
soup
signs. Hey,
right.
Hey,
it's like a fun story.
That's great.
In The Apprentice, like, he has a great learning experience that is fun. He gets to learn from it. He gets to apply everything to it. Because the apprenticeships that I did, it was never fun like that, you know. And being self-taught and then going into getting an apprenticeship, it wasn't like your traditional standard apprenticeship that you would normally see a lot of guys. Like, back in the day, you had to make needles, make this, make that, learn this, learn that, because they didn't want you to really learn how to tattoo till they wanted to break you. Before you got in the industry, so almost like make you want to quit.
Yeah, they're like, all right,
you know,
now you're ready.
That kind of
it's
almost more of a hazing.
You're bitter. You're bitter at it. You're like, I'm done. I'm ready.
You know?
All right, now you're ready.
Right.
Now you're bitter.
It's like, do you really want to teach more competition?
Right.
Why would you want this guy taking money out of your mouth?
Well,
but here we're different.
And
we're
that's
creating professions.
And I just want to say, like, that's
Crafts.
one thing I feel with your guys's. It's not about competition. It's about family. It's
like collaboration.
It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's like I felt anytime I went to go get a tattoo, except my one that I got it's a barracks tattoo. There's no competition there. I just paid the guy $50. And
Right, you pick that gun, right?
Yeah, done.
Easy.
But it's like it felt like going into those parlors. There's competition, but it didn't feel like you just felt like you're a number. You went in there, you laid down, you got your work or whatever it was.
You didn't know what to expect.
Yep.
The guys had no customer service skills. You know,
you try to make conversation with them.
Right, barely give you the time of day.
Yeah.
You know, and then here we like to drop what we're doing, make eye contact, shake your hand, walk you through things, check this out. When you're comfortable, just come in and be comfortable.
Yeah.
And then once the client kind of comes through the door, there's like, okay, this is a different type of place. Yeah. So, and they get to see that, and then they get to interact with all you guys, all the other friends and clients and patrons and stuff, and everyone has a great experience, and that's the funnest part. And then you start seeing everyone coming out on the weekends. Hey, it's Saturday. Let's go stop. When kids are saying, hey, Dad, can we go to the tattoo shop?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing, you know, but they want to see the toys. They just want to see us and say hi, you know. And we have friends' daughters bringing us cookies.
I saw that.
You know?
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, little things like that. I mean, that's really, I don't know, fulfilling. It just makes you feel really nice.
It makes you feel like you've done something.
Yeah.
It makes you, the impact.
Right. You know, you don't, and all the other tattoo shops I worked at, I never got anything like that. Nobody really, I mean, they'd be like, oh, okay, let's go out to eat or something, but they wouldn't be like, hey guys, here's some voodoo donuts for everybody.
Yeah, we're not going to, we'll shut down the shop for 2 hours and just have food, because we're going to break bread as a crew, not as individuals. Oh, go take your break. You know, today we're going to shut down in a couple hours, we're going to eat, we're going to break bread, and we'll open back up, we'll go back to work.
Right, exactly.
That's the feel I get here. It's not like It's like Olive Garden when you hear your family.
Exactly. And then we're like, hey, what are you doing after work? We're lock it down. We'll go next door and let's go get some chips and salsa or something.
Yeah,
you know,
get a
margarita.
Yeah, get margaritas, base or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
Right.
The day you guys are closed, hanging out together still.
Right, yeah. And we all like to barbecue, party, or
Go to
if
concerts.
we got things where you're coming out, you're working at a venue, or we'll run into each other at a concert, or play at a Comic-Con where we're actually not working it. We can actually enjoy it and goof off. And
Most of us are just recently at a quinceanera all together.
Right.
You guys actually shut down on a busier day for you.
Right, for one of our artists'
'Cause it's,
daughter's birthday.
Once
you
again,
know?
family.
Right, and we're like, cool. We will have birthday parties here, and they're like, really? We're like, a Sunday? Come on in, dude. We'll put a table up front. The kids love it running around and stuff. I mean, everything's clean, and it's a whole different type of environment.
And the environment is I feel it's the toys. I besides the people, it's the toys. I look around and then I'm sitting by all these toys. Star Wars. Let's kick Star Wars real quick, man.
Why do you hate Star Wars so much?
Yeah, why?
Man.
Why do you hate Star Wars?
It's like, I don't know if you remember Primus, where it says Primus sucks when they tour.
Yeah.
I want a Star Wars sucks.
Yeah,
With all my Star Wars tattoos all over.
Oh yeah, right. My favorite. I was just looking at. I saw. It's that. I saw the Guido. It's right here. I saw the Stormtrooper and
right with the rice hat, the samurai
yeah.
Stormtrooper. Yeah,
And
it's
then the
just
Guido on the back, the classic '80s style
death
Guido.
by shutting the wee wee.
Yeah.
Right, just in case.
Yeah,
I'm
hey,
not sure it's all ages. So.
Oh, hey, you know what?
But that's the fun part. I mean, yeah, it's like Star Wars is. It's a lifestyle. I don't know.
Is.
I grew up. I was born 1980, so I was like a little late into the Star Wars game.
Well, I think we're all 80s
You
kids,
know,
so we're all
right?
late.
So it's like I got to catch Return of the Jedi in the theater with my dad.
Yeah.
You know, at like I don't know, 5 years old, 6 years old, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
what is this? You know, and then watching it on, you know, it just sucked you in. Then looking at all your old like Christmas photos and stuff, you're like, oh man, look at all the toys I'm opening. They're Star Wars this, Star Wars that. He-Man, I remember that. I remember this figure, and then that bond that like my parents loved getting me Star Wars stuff because that made me happy. And then growing up, and then Star Wars still kind of being there, like you kind of go through your adolescent stage, you're learning who you are, and adulting, and all that stuff, and then you're like, dude, I love this stuff still. And when you have that passion, you still can hop right back into it.
Yeah.
And then getting kids of your own, then you kind of figure out what their passions are, and then you mix it with yours, and you show them yours, and it's just crazy. And then for Star Wars, that's just like my thing. It's just, it's a lifestyle. It's a huge universe of just fun.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Sci-fi, geeky, fandom.
Star Wars, were like, our generation, there were two fandoms. Star Trek or Star Wars.
Exactly, right.
And it was however you felt. I didn't see a problem with either of them. I just fell in love with the idea and the mythology and all of the like the allegories within Star Wars that really drew me in, and then on top of Han Solo.
Right.
You know?
Right. So cool. And then that's our generation is 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
And then I remember, I think like towards like after like end of high school era, like late 90s, you know. With
I was going into high school when the first one came out. So because you're just a couple years older than I am, but I was going into high school when episode 1 came out, and I was like, what is this? Because it reinvigorated a whole new generation and our generation back into Star Wars.
Right.
That's
right. And then they started incorporating like the CG. Re-digitally mastering everything, re-releasing 4, 5, and 6.
I remember
then
going
1, 2, 3.
I remember going to the theaters to go see Special Edition 4, 5, and 6, and that was like a big deal.
Mind blowing.
Saw that.
All 6 of them were in the theater. That was the coolest. The first 6.
Yeah. At one time too. It's like,
and you could just go and be like, okay,
what one am I going to see today?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that kind of had a pause. Everything else kind of started shifting and changing. Disney, all this stuff, stepping up, and then you got the last threequel, I guess you would say, like, and that's a whole new generation of fans coming in and being created, and that's what we see modern now, up to date. What you see at Disneyland and everything is all based off of what 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9. There's certain parts that you're incorporating some of the Mando and some of
It's almost like post Star Wars, kind of a thing, And
what drives me crazy is like adults now hate kind of on the newest trilogy, but I'm like, it's not geared for the old Star Wars fans. It's geared towards the new Star Wars fans.
To create more fans.
Like 1, 2, and 3 weren't made for the original Star Wars fans. They were made for kids Just like 4, 5, and 6 are made for the kids of that generation.
Yeah.
Right.
1, 2, 3 are made for those kids of that generation.
Right.
7, 8, 9 were exact same.
Yeah, they didn't
So
have
you
to
just
do
bring
any,
it in
yeah,
more and more.
They didn't have to do
Yeah.
any fan service to us. They
Right.
Mm-hmm.
could have completed completely different stories, not having to do with any of the Skywalker stuff, and it would have been okay. But the moment that they decided to play with the fate of how we grew up, it became a problem, and I saw no problem with them. I liked them for what they were.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it for what it is, they're great films. You get the
Right.
characters you love. You get some very sad, tear-jerking moments within those for us who grew fond of certain characters.
Right. Had that emotional tie.
Yeah, you have that tie,
Yeah.
you know. Getting, for me, Ben turning on Han, and that
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert,
Han dies.
Han dies. If you haven't seen it, Han dies.
He shot first.
He did shoot first. Han always shot first. I don't care what they did.
Right. Kylo's awesome though out of the new run. I just love the bad guys,
Yep.
the Sith side. Yeah, it's just like there's so much coolness.
There's so much more to it.
And it's for everybody.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even it's for everybody. And even the series are doing the fan service now. That they're dropping hints for Thrawn. They're dropping hints for just different stuff that we all love from the books. I mean, you gotta think about it. We all had that issue of canon. Canon went away. It's now
Right.
legacy. But now they're bringing that legacy back in different waves, and they're weaving that
Right.
story. And Star Wars is for everybody. You can find a character that you really like. I actually really like Boba Frick. He's one of my
Okay,
favorites.
yeah. Okay.
Boba
yeah.
Frick is one of my
Dude,
favorites.
I can't wait. The him coming back in the new Mando
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait. He's one of the best. Yeah, all those fun little critters. That's why
Yeah.
we liked Ewoks.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, and that's why we like
The
know
Jawas.
Crumb, the
Yeah,
Jawas.
yeah.
You
And
know,
Jar Jar. Everybody loves Jar Jar.
Jar Jar, right? You know,
Yeah,
you can't
everybody
go
loves
wrong.
Jar Jar.
The best Force sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Darth
Jar
Jar
Jar.
Jar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does
That's
Jar
because
Jar.
I go Jer Jer, so.
Yeah, that's Jar Jar. Jar Jar.
Right. Everybody has their favorites and the least favorites,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for bad guys.
I-
Villains,
yeah,
they just look
Darth
cool.
Maul. I love me some Darth Maul.
Darth
Yeah.
Maul.
I want him to get his own little series on Disney Plus. Like,
I like
So
oh,
cool.
what
After
was-
like Han Solo series,
Yeah.
seeing him coming back.
What
yeah, and then
was-
nothing went from it.
And then we got Clone Wars.
Yeah,
how they
Clone
got
Wars,
a lot
yeah.
more brought back in.
What was his name from the Solo movie? The villain, he played by the guy who plays Vision, Paul Bettany.
Oh, right.
That's my favorite villain right there.
It was pretty cool, right? Yeah.
He was something else because he wasn't like every other villain that had to have a massive weapon.
Mm-hmm.
He used his intelligence and his strength, but he was like more of a criminal underworld boss who was
Right.
fighting. Well, who was fighting for who? Darth Maul.
Right, representing that whole the Crimson. Yeah.
Yeah, the Crimson Dawn. So I mean,
really cool. And it's like when Vader first comes in, you're just like he's so mystical, and just like he almost looks soulless because you can't see if he's looking at you or he's just one tone,
right.
and it's like fear.
I will
that
tell
was
you-
so cool.
And no spoilers on this one because Obi-Wan's still very, very new. People probably haven't had a chance to watch it. I liked what they did with Vader and Obi-Wan, and they did that emotional
Chef's kiss.
tie at that final scene.
Those like last 3 episodes were just so amazing.
I
And what we need
I
fan service.
watched
Yes.
that cut to Duel of Fates and cut in between. Oh my gosh!
Dude.
Between the Battle of Mustafar to that,
Okay.
I was in awe. It made me like tear up because you see the emotion of them cutting from Mustafar to that to the everything that's happening.
Him and his throne.
Yeah.
Oh, and then getting belittled by
Yeah.
Emperor, you know,
Yeah, and then
him just his rage of just that one dude I gotta finish.
Yeah, and then that one line that I will not say because it'll spoil it. That whole emotional one line where Obi-Wan's all right, I'm done, and walks away.
Dude, to have that transition
Yeah.
and have Anakin Vader with that whole scene, and it's like, okay, spoiler, but you know,
No,
with
well,
the whole,
everybody knows at this point that
you've already watched it. If you haven't,
The
okay,
Hayden- well, everybody
you're
knows
bad.
Hayden-
This is your bad. Yeah,
everybody
you
knows
know.
Hayden's back, so
Right.
everybody knows he's in the costume. But the fact is, there is that moment, that realism, that real heart to the story.
It just humanizes Vader to where you can relate to him and his failures or what he's trying to become, and the way the mask gets broken and he goes in and out of both characters.
And it puts more emphasis on the end of Jedi too, because
it just made it so deep.
Because of the
that
humanization that they gave him at the very end of Jedi, where he goes, where Luke's like, "I'm not gonna let you die," and he goes, "I just take my mask off. I want to look upon you with my own eyes."
Again, spoiler alert. If you didn't
Yeah,
watch
if you haven't watched Jedi in the past 40 years,
Vader died.
Vader died.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Right.
If you haven't watched any of the new ones, Vader dies.
And don't watch them in chronological order. It just
there's
a certain way they're put out. Like,
I've done it in chronological order, and I've done it.
I mean, it's different if you've never if you've seen it.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen it, you got to watch the way they come out.
Yeah.
So
Watch
it's still
it.
mysterious.
Watch how it comes out. Watch 4, 5, 6, then go back watch the prequels, and then I would say you can toss up Rogue One and the Solo movie in any order in there because it fits there, and then watch the new ones because you'll get those ties. And then the series are great. Watch this series because they'll add the emotional depth, but watch the movies for what they are. But if you want to watch them in order after you've seen them, then you can really start to piece together more of that story. You'll get to see it unfold the way that you wouldn't have thought it would unfold after watching it the way you've watched it.
And don't skip over like the animated stuff, like Clone Wars, the Clone Wars movies, the Bad Batch. Dude, Star Wars Visions is just, oh my gosh, it's beautiful, mixing in the manga Japanese feel with that whole, because everything's based off the samurai, like with a little Third Reich action in the Empire, like there's so much of that, and it's like it all comes from somewhere, and to see that cross of cultures, it was it's beautiful that everyone's complaining about all the new stuff, but we're very spoiled and we're very blessed that we get non-stop content.
Non-stop content.
Yeah, everybody talked about The Mandalorian like it was the greatest thing on earth, which it is. But it's what we wanted.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then introducing a baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever concept, you're like, now you're bringing in moms, females, younger ladies, all the age range of women and now can come in and get tied into, and then we're all being the geeky dads, like, oh, this is adorable.
My daughters, they love that when Grogu popped up. Grogu? It was like, what? There's a baby Yoda? There's something.
How? And then you got in that fun factor, he's 50. And then you got Anakin, Vader. They were both born the exact same time, so now it changes the whole light and dark of who was the chosen one. Really?
Yeah.
Vader probably wasn't the one they were looking for. Right. They always talked about like Yoda would say, "There's always another."
There's always.
Is he talking about Leia to Luke? Is he talking my baby Grogu to
here's the thing.
Anakin?
So
who knows? Right?
And this is something I've never looked at it from this way. They've always said that in order to operate, there's always 2 Jedis. Not 2 Jedis, but 2 Sith. But to operate now, if you look, with the old guard gone, there was always 2 Jedis. They operated in pairs. Right.
You never took on another apprentice.
No, never.
Right.
So the Sith,
master apprentice.
It's the same concepts. The only difference with the Sith is they would kill their apprentice if they didn't do what they said.
Almost like a Highlander kind of vibe. There can only be one, and the only way for you to surpass that and grab that power, you have to kill your successor.
Yeah.
And then you're that much higher, then that guy kills you, and it just keeps growing.
That's the hate and the anger and the...
Right, all brought from Cad Bane, if you go into the old stuff.
Cad Bane.
35 years of Legends, 40 years of Legends that we grew up with from video games, novels.
Man.
Video games.
Novels, comics,
Yeah. And then now to say, all that world building is not canon. It's hard for us to take in as the old generation.
I take it because Dark Horse did a lot of work to build canon.
Absolutely.
Mark Hamill put a lot of work into that canon with Dark Horse because they came to Mark Hamill for some of those stories.
Right.
So
Dark Empire series is just one of the best
because they wanted to see what his idea would have been within it.
Right.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then now you have all the new stuff where they're trying to pull little bits of this, like a recipe with all these different ingredients from all these different eras, and then you're like, how can we make something fandom wise, how can we please the fans of this, how can we create new fans, make new content.
I don't think they've done a bad job because look around your office and I see the high end Star Wars Black Series stuff, because Black Series, when it came out, it was a brand new toy. It was like something that's the high end. That's like Super 7 at the time of Star Wars.
From a 3 3/4 Kenner figure.
Yeah, the original 3 3/4, which has a Darth Vader, original Jedi behind us.
Right, this guy's a beautiful one.
That's in the box.
We got this guy. I don't know if the glare will show, but it's got the Anakin mail away.
Yeah.
This one runs roughly about 2 to 2,500, depending.
Yeah.
Get it all graded. Still got a really nice card.
It does a card, yeah.
Well, it's
like
just
mint on card.
And that's my dude. Yeah.
And it's like very little like yellowing of the plastic. I mean,
right.
If you get that grade and that comes back like an 8.5, 9, I'd be totally happy on that.
Right, like you go from the 3 3/4 inch Kenner
to
right, to like 6-inch super massive detail.
Yeah.
You get way more articulation, stuff like that, and
it's
takes up more room.
Of course, it'll take more room, but I mean
that kind of thing.
But it's just like that just shows because you've taken your fandom. You have like I think every Black Series on your wall.
Right, just get in there, have a whole back stock. I mean, it's just like, oh man, you're running out of room quick.
But that's a fandom. It's like you said, it's a lifestyle.
Right, and then just growing. And then the coolest part is, if you look at it like in a market value, it's an investment.
It is.
You can not only hand it down to your children, where it's only going to grow in value.
It's like the 50s baseball cards, but for Star Wars.
Right, it's so crazy. I mean, if you look at it, it's like it's just as comparable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's worth only so much to whoever's willing to pay for that, and there's always somebody somewhere that's willing to have that collectible. If it's a signed jersey or a caught puck.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean, like
whatever.
A sweaty towel from Super Bowl,
a
or something
piece of animatronic from Disney,
right.
from
or
one
a
of the,
pick from your favorite band.
Oh yeah, I've got a few of those.
Oh right, we got it all.
Yeah, I've got a whole chest full of music stuff. I get it. Yeah, it's whatever's tangible to us.
Yeah, right.
Here's the question. I don't know if Jer has any other question, but here's one that I just thought of. Star Wars Land. Have you been, and what'd you think?
Oh man, so I haven't been yet. It's definitely the goal, and I'm just so behind, and so I'm a little butthurt with it because I'm a little bitter.
Don't be bitter.
I want to go so bad, and it's just I can't wait. I just cannot wait. Kind of waiting for like my youngest kid to get a little older.
How old is your youngest?
He's 4.
Oh,
so
he's perfect. I just took my 4-year-old.
Okay, perfect.
My 4-year-old's a little thrill seeker. He rode Tower. He rode
awesome.
Guardians. He wanted to ride the roller coaster. He couldn't ride. I mean, perfect age and the immersion. Like you're talking about. Like, does your kid in Star Wars like you are?
He's getting there. I don't know if like any other kid is really in Star Wars as much as like I am,
Darth Daddy right here.
Darth Daddy, right?
Hey, right?
Hey.
And that was also given to me by the family and all that fun stuff, so I kind of adopted the Darth Daddy kind of thing. And,
right.
But yeah, it's just like, you almost kind of like train the kids into it.
What
do you like about this? And they find something they like, or if it's,
you put them in there and they'll just, okay, I'm here.
Right.
The immersion, I'll tell you, and I know Jerry will tell you, go see it. You're gonna feel like you're literally.
I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, and then seeing all you guys going there all annually and doing this and that or whatever it is, like you're on the regular. It's just It's oh my god.
It's amazing. They had the speakers set up so it sounds like things are flying past your head and
you hear all the time.
Yeah.
You hear TIE fighters and like. They have the stormtroopers walking around there.
Interacting.
Oh, man.
Bounty hunters and everyone looking for it.
And then you hear ships. Like you said, you hear droids, off in the distance. And they actually have droids coming through. They have original props from movies. So one of the props that you'd see there in the Bronto Roasters, you remember in the scene, one of the scenes where they're in, I think it's in one of the droid scrapyards.
Okay.
And it's the bot that they're, putting
they burn his feet when he's
yeah.
upside down.
Yeah,
right.
So they have that robot
droid. Yeah.
roasting the Rontos. Just doing,
Awesome.
So they
with the spit going.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. See,
so
and then you got the cantina where you can actually get drinks.
Yeah, Olga's. Yeah.
The rides. It's just everything's replicas, like full size 1-to-1 scales and stuff.
It's crazy.
Right, dude. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah.
And for a Star Wars fan, from another one, you need to go.
It's definitely, it's a to-do. Right, I agree, for sure. And then they just added, Marvel Land?
Yeah, Adventures Campus over in California.
Campus,
California Adventure with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's expanding.
Yeah, it's going to,
Gotcha.
That'll expand in the next couple of years. That'll be great. They've got that. They've got Spider-Man, like Web Slingers, which is a 3D ride. Guardians. They've got... What else?
I think they're adding something, but I don't remember exactly what it was. They just announced it at D23.
It's going to be it was originally going to be a Quinjet attraction, and now it's like an expanded universe with a whole new character by the name of King Thanos. Yeah.
King Thanos.
He's got a crown. He's
The
got a
big
great
old gray beard, the
Yeah.
bad one.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
They've
I can't
introduced
wait.
him into the universe now.
Good. Can't wait for some like Immortal Hulk or
They
you know
they
all
just
that
brought out
fun stuff.
Avengers Hulk there.
Okay.
He's in the Avengers suit and he's got his mask on, so but he can interact with people. So they're starting to make it more. They're starting to involve and envelop more of that into the lands. So.
Weren't you also talking about like a Baymax prototype
Oh,
or something?
yeah.
going
So
on?
that's in the next
I
year
love
or
Big Hero
so.
6, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Hero 6. They're going to do a
San Fran, Tokyo.
Yeah,
area.
they're going to do a San Fran Tokyo area over in the old Pacific Wharf area. Well, still Pacific Wharf at this point.
Oh,
over
okay.
By Pixar Pier, they're going to take it and they're going to put up the Golden Gate, the Tokyo Golden Gate that they had for
Okay.
Big Hero 6. They're going to
And
do
you
a
got
big,
those cool little floating like
yeah,
lanterns and stuff with the fans. Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
They're
going
going to do the Baymax meet and greet. So they're going to do
Rad.
that's going to be so exciting for so many people because I didn't realize how popular Big Hero 6 was with a lot of people until I had little boys and I started seeing more and more Big Hero
Right.
6 stuff and paying
And that-
more attention to it.
And that coming from being a Marvel comic book
Mhm.
that not a lot of people recognize or is
Yep.
brought to anyone's attention. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And
Yeah.
yeah. And then, yeah, I can't wait. All of that stuff. And then kind of rewinding it back to, I guess, where you were mentioning, like, your love for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then with the kids. And then how they have all that stuff with Spider-Man there.
Oh man.
All the little bots and all the cool little
Spider
web slayer
bots,
toys
yeah.
and stuff.
I'm already
We had
on-
friends send a bunch of that stuff over for my kiddo, so he's got all the cool little slingers that you
Yeah.
can change them all out to different little LED lights, or that interacts with the little remotes. And it's amazing.
Yeah, oh man.
Amazing.
I will tell you I'm already on the hook for spider bots when I go down.
Yeah. And see, like, and then, like how you're talking about with your kids and Spider-Man, like, when Into the Spider-Verse came out,
Mhm.
we watched that in 3D, and I took both my kids. And my oldest daughter, she was probably, like, I don't know, 8 or 9 at the time when I was in the theater. And it's just us. And she takes off her 3D glasses and just looks at me and goes, Dad, this is so cool. And at that moment, me being such a huge Star Wars guy, I'm like, this is my favorite. Spider-Man just bypassed Star Wars to me because of the way my kid just that one moment, I'm like, yes. you know?
Oh yeah. It's so weird for me though.
Amazing.
To see Doc Ock as a female and all of that. It's just
All
so
of that.
crazy.
Everything. And all, like, Chris Pine doing
Yeah.
this one, and, you know, all, and then seeing, like, Prowler, and just
All
all the
of these-
dynamics.
Yes.
It was like what it looked like to be in a comic book.
Yeah.
That's what a comic book world would look like. So when we watch it in 3D, it was just, everything was just, it was like, what, all the gas bubbles at the end when they're all just like zipping all over in the dimensional stuff. You're just like, I'm like goosebumped every time. And we watched it like 6 times.
Wow.
At least. And then with my little boy, he loves Hulk and Spider-Man, and he's 4 now. And then for him to have such a passion, he loves the album, every song from Into the Spider-Verse. We had to buy it on LP for him and play it on the vinyl. We got all that stuff, and then for Comic-Con one time, it was kind of fun. We actually all dressed as Spider-Man for the whole family. So we put a Spider-Man suit on him, so he was our Spider-Ham. And then I dressed as Miles because that was his favorite. And then my daughter did Gwen. And then the wife just threw on a Spider shirt. So we were like a big old Spider-Man family,
That's
you know.
cool.
And it was just a blast, you know, to be that. And then my kids looking at me getting dressed as Miles with the gear, the Nikes, just shorts on, the backpack. And they were like, wow, my dad's Miles.
The moment you transform.
You know, and then going to hang out. And then my daughter's like, oh, I'm going to be Spider-Gwen. Of course. I'm like, bad, dude, you know, super cool. We get to go and have fun. And the kids just, it's just so surreal to them.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, it's just larger than life.
Yeah.
And just so that going into like cosplaying and all that, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's just so much fun stuff.
It allows you to be a kid again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's what this place does to me. Makes me
It's
be a
fun,
kid.
and that's where you see like all the different artists. Like on Star Wars, you have Chris 51's, The Simpsons. You got like Skip loves his Silver Surfer.
Yes.
Joe loves his Pokemon and Dragon Ball. Alex is more like the G.I. Joe He-Man guy. It's just kind of crazy. Everyone's kind of got their own little thing. You
But
know,
there's also
their
a good mix of other nostalgic stuff in here too, guys. If you get a chance, they have original McFarlane Spawn stuff in here. They have like some of the replica Kenner GI Joe stuff that's just now coming out. Did you see the new stuff that they're releasing? The 6-inch Lady J and the
yes, it's so crazy. Or the Megatron that turns into a Hiss tank, or an actual Hiss tank. Like all the new stuff, and it just keeps coming and coming. And it's there's something for everybody. That's the coolest part. If it's not just trading cards, sports cards, Pokemon cards, or comic books, or toys, it's just everything. It's so cool. Or what you're wearing on your skin, you know, like this. It's like, it's awesome. It's immortalized, you know, and it's so cool. And it all brings us together in our own geeky little way.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I look like a piece of wallpaper right now. You know, you guys are literal wallpaper. I look like a piece of wallpaper. You know,
right? I'm like finding shirts. I'm like, I don't know if I have any shirts that don't have a comic book
But
character.
that's
you know, and I was like, huh. Go to a wedding.
Yeah, I might need to buy
I might have Boba Fett emblems everywhere, or, you know, Mando symbols. You're like, it's cool. It bugs up, right?
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
You're like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it works.
It's all incorporated from your socks to your little pins.
Everything you do.
You know, whatever, yeah.
Gotta be you. Gotta be personal.
Right. It's so fun. And it brings us all together. And if I don't know that passion that you like if it's like some kind of manga or anime that's out, it's like, cool, now I get to learn it.
Yeah, you get to learn
you
about
get to
it.
teach me that. And then now I get to teach you about a little Star Wars, or you get to teach me about a little Disney, or teach me about the Haunted Mansion, or working in Disney firsthand, and like all this cool stuff.
It makes us connected.
And then we're just all giddy about it, you know? We're like, oh, we're just big kids with jobs. With money. With bad money management.
You got any questions there, Jer?
No, I feel like we did a good job starting out strong and then full circle all the way back to kind of where we started.
I have one question that came to mind about Polynesian.
Oh, okay.
Did you get to learn the old-fashioned way with the
tapping, the tao? Yeah. So I didn't learn any of that, but my two masters that had taught me in the Polynesian, one, his grandfather is a grandmaster in Oahu of Tao. So he's just got the full face pieces. He does the full body suits. So my master was his grandson, and he's got the full. They're from Samoa, so they have the wrap. So if you're naked, it looks like you have a sarong on. That's all the designs. Different family members have different markings.
Different tribes have different
for their rankings and their job titles and stuff like that. And then for them to pass it down to me, I got to learn it through electric tattooing.
Right.
So it's a little more modernized. It goes a lot quicker, a little less trauma.
Yeah, those guys would be there for days on. You come back tomorrow, you're only about this far done.
Right. So I got to learn all that firsthand. I never got to do it, but it taught me where the roots are, where it comes from. I do my homework, how they mix kukui nut and sugar cane for the ink, how they use like sea urchin quill or chicken bone, whatever, all that stuff for the tapping bamboo and all that. And
it's all organic.
And it's like they would lay on the beach, lay out a mat, plastic, you know, you'd have one guy holding the ink, a couple people spreading you while the artist is just tapping all the designs in you, and then you go out in the ocean. When you're done, you set it in the salt water.
Wow.
You can almost just see the steam probably come off you.
Oh, yeah.
You go on the beach, you just dump coconut oil all over you, and then you have a luau. And then you come back tomorrow and do more. You know? But because of the Tao, you can go into shock when you're out there, so sometimes they have EMTs on hand just in case, because it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of trauma and shock.
It's just straight the real tribal, traditional, authentic, and there's all the different regions has something different from the different islands: Hawaii, Samoa, Tongan, New Zealand, the Maori, you know. But it's all kind of relative, you know, and be able to learn all that, and then learn patterns, like what accents your body and stuff.
That's
and
right.
Design, you know, and all that kind of fun stuff. And they were like, we'll teach you Polynesian, but will you kind of show us some of the like American traditional and stuff? So we kind of got to exchange.
That's so cool.
So it was fun. And then they're from Oahu, obviously, where Ed Hardy, you know, you have Honolulu, you know, all that stuff comes from where all the guys were, all the military guys getting all that, all those cool,
all the old anchors and all the basics.
The Sailor Jerry, amazing artwork, the American traditional.
Don the Beachcomber drinks and Sailor Jerry tattoos.
Right. So then I kind of gotten a little more of learning all that, and the Polynesian was just amazing to learn that, and and then it was just kind of cool because they all have a huge community, and they're really a lot of big guys, so you're doing some big pieces, you know, and stuff, and it's kind of cool. And then just kind of veering from there, you know, and it's like, but I did try a little bit of the Japanese tapping, and that was pretty crazy because it's more of like a tap pluck kind of a concept, and like how they do like the Yakuza suits and all that stuff. So that's traditional Japanese, you know, and every culture has tattooing of some sort and things that goes on, but
It's crazy.
super cool, yeah. But then now, like, I'm a little more diverse. I can do this, I can do a little bit of this, a little genre stuff, you know. And
well, diversity makes you a good artist. It makes you cultured in your art. Now, one last question. We want to close this out. Have you done any of your own?
I've done a couple. Nothing too fancy. Some stuff, like some little guys. But it's a lot easier just to have somebody else do it for me, you know?
Right.
You know? But yeah, it's crazy. It's like, but we always tattoo each other. We're like, oh, we got downtime. Hey, do you want to do this, like, vampire Mickey Mouse?
Right.
Awesome, I want that. Or, you know, I want this Pikachu. You
That's
know,
right.
we're always, like, having fun tattooing each other, and it just gets crazy. It's all the fun stuff. I mean, from, like, a Kung Fu Panda.
I love Kung Fu Panda. That's so
one
rad.
of my favorites, right? You gotta have Ho, the dumpling master.
Yeah.
You know, dumpling
Shredder,
king.
Shredder next to the Dumpling King, next
Right.
to Pikachu, next
Pikachu
to
on it, you know, and
You
then I got
gotta-
my Grumpy Bear. That's my fave, you know, and
you've got
all kinds of stuff. Meowth with the infinity coin.
Yeah.
You know, to like Japanese, to actually, oh, here's a cool one. My Punisher one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Punisher.
And then we were in Atlanta, and San Jose, and the Punisher series just finished, and John Berthal was there, hanging out with all of us there at the convention.
Wow.
And his security guard is who I tattoo, who's a real good friend of mine.
Right.
I call him Uncle Cookie. He's like a retired like Green Beret badass military guy. So
Yeah.
he was getting a Punisher emblem on him because it's military tight.
Yeah.
And he was taking care of Bernthal, you know. So he's like, hey, why don't you man up and get a tattoo? I'm getting your emblem. He was like, I'm getting a Punisher emblem. Why aren't you down there? And then we got to hang out, get pictures, and kick it with John Bernthal. Then I actually showed him my Punisher, and then he signed it.
That's right.
John Bernthal with his own little Punisher, and then we ran to the booth. Well, hurry up and tattoo this. So they filmed it. Bernthal came out, saw it, and then we got him to get tattooed by a couple other buddies. And we all got to hang out and share stories after Comic-Con and hang out with all that stuff.
That's
you know,
so
and,
rad.
And then having him sign that. We do a lot of celebrity ones. My favorite Star Wars artist, Steve Anderson, really good guy, local. Actually, we got Dan Prado. Made him sign. He's like, he was such a, he was so shy. And then one of my favorite ones, Derek Riggs. You know, Derek Riggs, a good old, good old Iron Maiden artist there, and and then Emily Swallow, the armorer from the Mandalorian. So and then having my daughter's name, Jasmine, on there, and then I had Emily sign it and do hashtag Clan2, like she's my Grogu. You know, we're the Clan2. Everyone wanted This Is the Way. I'm like, no, I want Clan2. Because it goes with my daughter's name. And then we just kind of tattooed that, you know, at the Comic-Cons, and we've all been there. We've all kind of seen all that, and it's just fun to kind of geek out, you know. And you're like, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Get what you want because it's yours.
It's personal.
You know, you don't need to explain anything to anybody. You know, just have fun.
It's your body.
Exactly. Have fun and live it.
You know, I'm going to ask you to do something that I usually have Joe do at the end of every show. It's the like, comment, subscribe. You want to?
Hey, what's up, guys? Don't forget the fun part. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, share, post it, put it out there. We're all connected somehow. Yep. Help the algorithm, help these guys, help me, help them, help you.
Help each other.
Right, they got their YouTube stuff. We got our own geeky YouTube stuff, Geekster Ink Sandbox. We do Pokemon openings. We do unboxings. These guys are doing a lot of the stuff, so we're all collaborating.
We're going to start collaborating more together, guys. I mean, you might see us doing more Geekster Ink stuff with our Tattoo Infinity and Beyond channel, and we're just doing some collabs. I mean, it's all congruent and talking. But like Jerry, I usually have Jerry say. I want to have Jerry say because we're in his shop.
Right. It's like, subscribe.
Yeah,
share. We're like the Three Stooges meets Monkey See.
Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Or Hear No Evil. I kind of think right. We got it all. But that's the fun part is we're all together. Check out everyone's social medias, Instagrams, Facebook.
They'll be down here somewhere. You guys know how it all works.
All
Hit here. At the beginning of every episode, I put it down here at the bottom. We'll have emails. We'll have all of that. So if you missed any of that, it'll be in the links below as well. But we've had a great time, Jerry. Thank you for
Awesome,
having us
man.
in Geekster Ink and allowing Jerry and I to come in again after he got blasted after hours. You know, let's do a wardrobe change. Let Jerry get out of his tank top and get ready for a hockey game tonight, and
Right. And shut it down, but yeah, and then do more and more. Right?
more and more. Yeah, well, we'll be
It's
around.
early.
This is early. This is
And
early.
these guys are great, man. So you guys make sure hit these guys up and check it out.
Yeah.
Support everybody. It all
Thank,
helps. So.
Thank you again, Jerry, for everything.
Dude, you guys are amazing. We're all family, brother. Yeah. We're
Thank you,
all
buddy.
family. It's awesome, dude. We got and stay geeky.
Stay geek. Yeah, stay geek. Yeah, sure.
All right. Check us all out, all of us. The Geekster Ink Legends tattoo shop. We have our Instagram. We have all that fun stuff. We're all over the place. He has all his.
Yeah, we don't have our Facebook up for Tattoo Infinity and Beyond yet, but
Right.
we do have our YouTube channel. We have email,
Email. We got Instagram.
our website.
There is a TikTok. Nothing on it yet, but there is a TikTok.
We're slowly building, guys. Slow build. Consistency creates
And
content.
he does photography work that you'll
Yeah.
love to see. Follows all these bands. He's in there just getting some of the most Everyone does all kinds of
We're
stuff.
all jack of all trades, master of none, really.
Right, exactly.
Well, he's a master of
bigger.
tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm just master of nothing.
Master bigger. Yeah, but other than that, we're pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you again, Jerry. This has been Tattoo Infinity and Beyond. Jer, you want to sign us out?
Adios.
Take care, guys.
Peace.